The vampires had invaded human civilization. The unyielding human king finally comes bowing on his knees to offer his throne and everything under his control. However, the pure-blood vampire kills him. After that, two vampires attempt to kill some knights and children. One of the kids tells the vampires that God spoke to her in a dream that he would send a hero for the sake of saving humans. On hearing this, the vampires mock her and disregard her words. They then attack at fast speeds and kill the soldiers, leaving only the kids. As they move toward the kids to kill them too, a knight suddenly appears from afar and starts approaching them. The vampires try to perceive him with their extraordinary smelling ability, and they discover that he doesn't smell like a living human being. The strange knight reveals that he is a corpse and instantly makes a leap attack. He kills one of the vampires, and the second stabs him in his heart, but it doesn't affect him. He then kills the other vampire too. The rumor soon begins to spread around the world about a vampire fighter and knight who couldn't die. A while ago, some masked individuals arrive at a battle scene and see that they had just lost the greatest warrior of their current age that can beat the vampire, Gunther. He died on his feet. They then take his corpse along with them to their abode as they need a hero in a desperate time, such as this, to save humankind. After a while of working on the corpse, they finally revive him. He wakes up and wonders how he is still alive after dying. He later discovers that he is being hanged in the air and his physique has been changed, with his limbs removed, giving him the look of a monster. He is told that he can never die unless a particular device installed inside his brain is destroyed. Also, he can fit into a modified body as special and powerful limbs have been made for him. He is later told that the power that moves his body is the life of a motorized human called Aryan. Life is injected into his body through a device connected to her so he can move, and he can only live for just 2 hours without the connection. As they continue talking, some vampires invade their location. They start to attack the people. Captain Reno orders the other humans to go fight the vampires first to buy them some time to fix Gunther's arms and legs, but they refuse, scared that they might die. Aryan chooses to go instead and launches an attack on the vampires. She soon gets overpowered by the vampires, but as the vampires deliberate on who to take her, Gunther attacks them and breaks the head of one of the vampires. However, he is shocked that the vampire didn't die. Aryan tells him to always aim for their hearts, as vampires can regenerate if their hearts are not destroyed. Gunther starts to beat the vampires, and instead of just killing them and ending the fight once, he keeps dealing with them. He happens to be enjoying the fight. He finally tries to kill one of the vampires, but the vampire pleads for his life and brings up an offer. The vampire tells him that he will allow them to go quietly and not call the attention of Benzel, a high-ranking vampire, if he lets him live and hands over Aryan to him. Gunther kills him anyway by destroying his heart. After a while, Gunther is dressed in specially built armor to help him in his fights against the vampires. As he is being told the functions of the different parts of the armor, they suddenly hear a thumping noise from above that continues to move toward them. They think Benzel has come to avenge the vampires since they talked about him reaching them in an hour if they died. Gunther and the others stay alert, earnestly looking towards the entrance, and to their surprise, 3 vampires appear, showing only their heads. Captain Reno tries to settle the issue with them, but they refuse and tell him that they have sworn to kill every human. Gunther says that they are not enough to fight against him. However, he soon discovers that it's the face collector vampire, Bengal, a vampire with numerous faces. The faces then begin to appear in their numbers. Aryan tells Gunther that he has to locate the body connecting all the faces so he can destroy the heart and kill the vampire. The vampire soon launches an attack. Gunther quickly takes Aryan to safety. Well, that's his priority if he wants to continue living. He then starts to land several hits on the many faces of the vampire. After a while, the faces captured his hands and legs, and he becomes stuck. The faces continue to bite him and almost cover his body. He begins to think of how to escape from their jaws, and soon, he sees the real body of the face collector vampire. The vampire shows him the faces of some of the humans that sacrifice themselves for the sake of humanity, and tells him that he will be collecting his face also. However, Gunther tells him that he wouldn't love to collect his ugly face. This causes the vampire to remove the helmet on Gunther's face, and soon Gunther starts biting the many faces of the vampire until he frees himself from the vampire's jaws, also detaching his legs from his body. He returns to Captain Reno and Aryan, telling them to change the plan as they don't have a chance to win. He tells them to escape until sunrise, since high-ranking vampires can't survive in the sun. Aryan holds Gunther tight while he tries to escape from Bengal. Bengal sees Aryan's beautiful face and desires to collect it too. Gunther finally gets a place to hide till sunrise, which is only about 5 minutes away. However, Captain Reno is still in danger and calls for his help. He ignores him, saying he has to be the bait so they can have the chance to escape. Aryan can't bear this, so she decides to step out to save her colleague. Gunther quickly carries her and heads for the exit. He eventually gets them out, but soon realizes that the face collector has captured Aryan. Bengal returns with Aryan to his dungeon. He is dejected that he couldn't get revenge for the family that he lost, and he is determined to kill Gunther at whatever cost. He asks the other vampires for more faces, and they present 34 people with faces that he might like. He tells Aryan that she shouldn't be afraid as he likes her the most and will put her inside of him so she can be with the vampires till the end of humankind. Meanwhile, Gunther is angry that he lost Aryan to Bengal, and he hastens Captain Reno to help him fix his legs. He asks Captain Reno if a new motorized human can be made if Aryan dies. Reno replies to him that they can't build a new powered human in a few years, and that Gunther's body will rot in just 3 days if he fails to recharge after he goes off. So ultimately, if Aryan dies, Gunther dies. Reno finishes fixing his legs and presents him with a new weapon to use against Bengal. Meanwhile, Bengal starts to collect the faces of the people. Aryan is the next. He then attempts to attack her. However, one of the people sees that Bengal is distracted and has let his guard down, so he decides to attack him, but before he could do anything, Bengal stops him with the numerous faces. Bengal mocks him for trying to sacrifice himself for mankind and tells him how he was also once like that. He used to try to be a hero too, who always went around trying to save people. However, an incident occurred at a time when he had to save some people from fire. He got seriously deformed from the heat of the fire, which melted his skin and changed his appearance. People began to disdain him and see him as a monster from then, and this made him hate humanity. He almost kills the guy when Gunther suddenly arrives and shoots his new weapon, the bone launcher, at him but misses his target. He discovers that Aryan is still alive. Meanwhile, before then, Captain Reno instructs Gunther on how to use his new weapon. He tells him that the bone launcher only has 6 shots, after which the weapon becomes useless. He also tells him to go after Bengal first, since killing him will make the other low vampires go extinct. However, he has to do it quickly before his time runs out, which is already halfway out. Bengal tries to devour him from the head this time, so he won't be able to use his mouth to escape like he did the other time. However, Gunther blasts him with the bone launcher and frees himself. Now, he has only 3 shots left to destroy Bengal's heart, and has to be careful not to waste the shots, but he is faced with the challenge of which particular face is Bengal's of the numerous faces. Aryan starts to scream Bengal's name and tells Gunther to take note of the face that quickly reacts. The other vampires realize that this method would expose their boss, so they try to stop Aryan from talking. Gunther blasts the bone launcher 2 more times and discovers where Bengal is. He finally makes the final blast at him, but it hits his face and not his heart. Gunther's time is almost up as he has not been connected to Aryan since she was caught. Aryan tells him to destroy the device in his head, but he refuses and says he still has 1 more shot in his body. He dashes at Bengal while his head regenerates and punches his heart out, thus killing him. He then goes unconscious and wakes up on their way to the head office in the city of Baja, the only city left for humankind, where the survivors are gathering. Aryan thanks him for helping her to save a lot of people. He is also told that the low-rank vampires who received Bengal's blood also vanished after he died. Gunther then mentions that the whole thing could be solved quickly in the same manner if they also handle the pure blood vampire from whom all vampires get their blood, but he is told that the pure blood vampire has not been seen anywhere since he killed the late emperor. Gunther finds this strange and begins to wonder why the vampires are killing all humans if they drink human blood to survive. As they approach Baja, they discover that the city is on fire. Meanwhile, a report reaches Julius, the last pure blood vampire, that Bengal has been killed by a human. He is surprised and tells them to find out more about the human who killed him. Meanwhile, on getting to Baja, they meet Leonard, who shows great delight to see them. However, on seeing Gunther, he gives a hateful expression. He takes them inside and starts to feed them on the current situation of the city and how it was invaded by some vampires they had never witnessed before. He then tells Gunther to stay and guard them till the city's bridge is repaired, but Gunther refuses. Leonard gets angry and tells Gunther about how he and his colleagues sacrificed themselves to protect the researchers who worked on building him. He says the dead knight should have been himself instead of Gunther, a gladiator who doesn't even know what it means to sacrifice. Gunther insults him in return and Leonard gets very angry and attempts to attack. Well, Gunther puts him in his place with a punch. Aryan then persuades him that he has to spearhead the war and protect the city as they need a lot of materials and manpower to keep the supply coming in for the production of his modified body parts. He agrees and is given some weapons in preparation for the battle, a shell shield and a sword. After a while, as he speaks with Aryan, Leonard rushes in to inform them that the vampires are back. Gunther gets prepared and sets out to go and face them. He soon comes across a vampire who is surprised to see only him. The vampire starts to approach him in a strange movement pattern, and he wonders what kind of movement this is. He then makes a leap attack at the vampire with his sword at a fast speed, but he is shocked when he sees that his sword didn't have any impact on the vampire even though he sliced through. The vampire addresses an unseen audience as though it's a show, and announces the commencement of the first performance titled The King of Pigs and the Dwarf Choir. A circus tent suddenly forms from the vampire and the show begins. Some dwarf pig-like vampires start to come out of the tent and attack him, but he beats them all. He then heads towards the tent to attack the king. The king immediately starts to blast fire at him with his mouth, but Gunther blocks the fire with his shell shield. The king gets surprised that the fire isn't affecting him, and he intensifies the fire. However, Gunther continues blocking with the fire-resistant shield and dashes at the king with full force, thus killing him. Gunther comments that the first performance was too easy and requests a second performance. Will Gunther successfully protect the city with ease, or will he face a more difficult challenge in the second performance? Let us know if you want the next part in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. See you guys in the next video.